I used SurveyMonkey to illustrate my audience questionnaire. I carried this out so I could get a more detailed understanding of the likes and dislikes of my consumers. By emailing my finished survey to members of my school, it gave me the opportunity to hear the voice and opinions of those who are less accessible and people I would not usually speak to. Thus, I was not biased in the people I asked to fill out my survey. It also had a large impact on the production of my work because it provided me with quick, up-to-date responses, which otherwise could have taken weeks to gather if the survey was carried out by postal ways. Furthermore, the website featured technologies in which I was able to send my survey out to people across various social media platforms. This enforced my decision to send a link to my friends and peers from outside school to answer my survey. By doing this, it ensured my results were not just obtained from Bournemouth School for Girls and were collated from a wider audience perspective. Unfortunately, upon using this software, I must take into account the possibility of the existence of social desirability bias, in which the respondent may answer purely based on what results they think I wish to obtain. Moreover, there was the issue of some responses possibly being answered jokingly, which overall was not useful in answering my questions. Finally, due to my use of the free online version, I was only permitted to ask a maximum of 10 questions per survey, which really limited me on what questions I could ask my audience. Irregardless of this minor setback, I was still able to gain information from a decent number of peers, which helped me on the content and information of my music video. The PowerPoint software presented by Microsoft allows users to create an electronic presentation of slides. With this, users can use texts, photos, illustrations, drawings, tables, graphs, and movies to efficiently walk an audience through a presentation. Having used PowerPoint for numerous years on end, I had no trouble in using this software as I am completely aware of the uses it offers in order to create a high-performance presentation. It also helped that a few years ago I achieved a Microsoft Office Specialist qualification for this software, which largely helped my ability to use PowerPoint to its fullest potential. I used PowerPoint to analyse my focus group results. This was useful because by conducting this, I was able to identify my consumers' feelings and perceptions, which helped to smooth over any irregular findings that were obtained from my target audience research. The focus group consisted of girls aged 17 to 18 whom were asked to listen to the Seven Nation Army song and write down any shot ideas, concepts and ideas they had which were not influenced by watching the original music video. Using PowerPoint presentation to express these findings was useful because it allowed me to upload scanned images of my peers' responses, which were high quality and were easily readable. Unlike some softwares I've tried, PowerPoint maintained the original resolution of the image. I was extremely glad about this because it meant I was able to show the unique responses from each participant. However, it is key to point out that it did require numerous attempts for the scanner to work at school, as for some reason the icon would not appear which connected the scanner to the computer at school. This was frustrating because I felt I had wasted time on such a simple task that under normal circumstances would have taken 10 minutes tops. Looking back on this now, it would have been significantly quicker had I taken pictures of these responses from my phone and imported the photos to the computer. Unlike my experience with the scanner, I enjoyed using PowerPoint because I was able to select and create a template which fit well alongside the concept of my music video. After completing my presentation, I later found out that I was unable to directly insert a finished PowerPoint onto EduBlogs. Initially, I was under the assumption that I would have to recreate my presentation using alternative software. However, after playing around with the settings of the format of the PowerPoint, I was able to convert the presentation from a PowerPoint format into an MP4 video. Because of this, I was able to adjust the duration of each slide to ensure the reader had enough time to read each slide without being rushed. As a result, I was able to successfully insert my presentation onto my blog. Moreover, to add another form of technology into my response to this question, I have inserted a recording in the bottom right-hand corner of each slide where I'm reading the text. This allows the reader to follow along with what I'm saying. Finally, by doing this recording, I was sure to leave a long enough space for the viewer to read this response. Prezi is the perfect way of transforming your everyday PowerPoint into an interesting presentation that links imagery to motion in just the click of a button. I use this software many times throughout my blog in posts such as target audience and categories of music videos. One reason I like using Prezi is because it's completely free and provides access from any web-enabled computer. I chose Prezi to complete these two posts because in both cases involved a main heading which I then needed to separate into different subheadings. Using Prezi made this distinction very clear because I could have larger circles representing the main topics of conversation, then attached to these were smaller ones which would be linked to the larger ones. This was a clear way to show the audience the different subjects I would be referring to within my presentations. For example, in my categories of music videos post, there are three main topics: performance-based music videos, narrative-based music videos, and concept-based music videos. All information regarding these was shown in larger slides. Then, any subtopic of each of these were presented to the audience in a smaller one to show the audience the subject had not changed. However, one negative aspect of Prezi is its occasional incompatibility on school computers. Despite embedding a link of my completed presentation onto my blog a number of times, there were times where the viewer was unable to view it in large screen, which potentially made some of the smaller fonts harder to read. This was unsatisfying because it meant I had to divert the reader to the Prezi website in order to read my presentation. I used Prezi to present my post about equipment and props because it was actually a very good way of reminding me what to bring on each day of filming. Due to not being presented in text straight onto the blog format, it was much easier for me to remember what to bring on each day of filming, ensuring I did not forget any vital props or equipment. Also, I feel that because the soldiers' belongings were a very unique and personal aspect of my music video and ancillary products, it was difficult to forget these. Finally, I used Prezi in response to the evaluation question 3. What have you learned from your target audience feedback? I felt this was most suitable because I was able to clearly distinct between the comments on my music video and ancillary products by separating these responses into the different circles provided. Padlet acts as an online mood board in which posts can be pinned to a background of the user's choice. Before being introduced to this software, I had never heard of it before, so I was unaware of some features it had to offer. After conducting some research and reviewing some examples of it that had been used in the past, I knew it was the perfect software to use for aspects of my blog. I used Padlet in reference to Julia Kristeva's theory of intertextuality. I liked how the website acted almost like a scrapbook, so I thought I had a lot of freedom in where I was able to position my text, links, and images. For this reason, I found the system relatively easy to use and get along with. A huge advantage of being able to use Padlet is that it's free. This allowed me to create an online wall which acts as a virtual notepad where I could share my ideas. Moreover, the software is extremely mobile, meaning I could access my work and edit it from my laptop and at home, and computer at school, and even my iPhone. Moreover, unlike Prezi, YouTube, and EduBlogs, for example, it does not always require a username and password to access your work. However, there are times I did not get along with this software because due to its fairly simplistic manner, there is not much leeway in which I could add my own personal touch to the wall. Overall, this meant that the presentation was not very interactive with the user, which is an aspect I am not particularly fond of. Also, I found it very limiting the page layout, as there were some templates I could not arrange the sequence of texts where I would wish to.